Ex-Labour leader Jeremy Corbyn to join us. Thank you very much, sir. So, yeah. So the Thai rally, yeah. MP Thai rally. Thank you very much, sir. You join us. So I request the ex-Labour leader Jeremy Corbyn, please.
He is not ex, sir. He is a leader of. Okay.
Yes, family. Sorry, Jeremy Corbyn. Sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, and thank you for inviting us here today. I'm sorry we've only just come in because we were in the House of Commons chamber for the statement about the bombing of Yemen that had just happened, and the continuation of the appalling bombing of Gaza that's going on by the Israeli forces, and of course the continuation of the appalling war in Ukraine. Last week I was at The Hague as a witness to the International Court of Justice hearing of the South African application, which made some very strong, very credible, very legal arguments that Israel is committing acts of genocide by its collective punishment of the people of Gaza. We will see what the outcome of that is. The reason I say that, by way of starting, is that across the region, Yemen, Palestine and neighbouring countries, there are 17 million people living in what's called food stress. In other words, they're hungry, they're starving, they haven't got enough to eat. The largest level of deaths from wholly preventable conditions like cholera, diarrhea, dysentery are taking place in Gaza and in Yemen at the present time. And the Western response is to spend billions on weapons, on ships, and put more and more weapons, ships and aircraft into the region, and use 21st century bombs to attack positions because they somehow or other claim this is going to bring about peace. We've had more than a decade of bombing of Yemen, and it has brought no peace. It's only brought destruction and poverty and death as a result of it. And then you look at the other conflicts around the world, and the oldest disputed border is actually that of Kashmir. It goes back to 1948, when Nehru referred it to the UN as a international dispute, whereas every time any of us have raised the issue of the rights of the people of Kashmir in Parliament here and elsewhere, we're immediately told it's a bilateral issue between India and Pakistan, as though two nations can decide what happens to somebody else. I beg to differ. As far as I'm concerned, it is an international dispute. The UN has so far failed to be able to recognise that, and we should pursue it as an international dispute. And the process over all these years has been growing militarisation in both India and Pakistan as a result of the unresolved issue surrounding Kashmir, has been development by both countries of nuclear weapons capabilities, has been a series of hot wars at various times. Thousands of people have lost their lives. And increasingly, India has walked away from the idea that Jammu Kashmir has a special status within India, removed that, and imposed some pretty draconian laws and operations there against public manifestations, political activity, demonstrations, and banning many visitors from India to ever go near the place at all. And so the very large number of people in this country who are from Kashmir feel absolutely angry that their issue is often completely ignored by the political classes in Britain. I was approached about this very shortly after I became leader of the Labour Party, and obviously was very well aware of the issue from before. And took the view and persuaded the party to take the view that we should recognise it as an international issue, not a bilateral issue, and do everything that we can to try to bring about justice for the people of Kashmir. It is obviously a sensitive area in the sense you've got two huge powers side by side, India and China. Well, that's not a reason not to settle the dispute, that's every reason to settle it, so that the people of Kashmir can have their view and their view expressed. The inability to travel between the two parts of Kashmir through the line of control means that Kashmiri people don't know each other or find great difficulty in knowing each other, and increasingly the movement of people into Kashmir, encouraged by India, means an interesting political and demographic dynamic that's beginning to develop there. So I think this meeting we're having here today, and Richard, thank you very much for organising and arranging it, gives the chance for an education process to members of Parliament and indeed the public in this country, and I hope you will avail yourself of that, because there is actually very little in any of the British media discussed about Kashmir. It is discussed from time to time in the British Parliament, but it is not central to the whole issues of relationships with either India or Pakistan. I have done my best over years to discuss it with diplomatic and political representatives of both India and Pakistan, and my plea has always been the primary force and primary voice ought to be the people of Kashmir first, to express their view on what their ideal political arrangement is for the long term and the future. And on that basis I've come to this meeting because I'm interested to hear what you all have to say. You're very kind to invite me to speak, but actually it'd be much better if I just listened. So could I say thank you very much for inviting us, and I will be here to
On the behalf